All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Welcome, everyone. My name is Tracy Fitzpatrick, and I'll be your moderator today. Thank you so much for joining us here at Netcom Learning, a market leader in promoting lifelong learning, training, and talent development solutions. We're very excited to host today's webinar, The Must-Knows, the new CompTIA Network Plus 007 certification. And presenting today's topic is Tanzeen Kasem. Tanzeen has more than 20 years of experience in the training and certification industry. Since 2006, she has held a variety of positions at CompTIA overseeing certification, including CompTIA Network Plus, IT Fundamentals, Project Plus, and CTT Plus. She also launched the CompTIA Instructor Network to help instructors improve their training delivery strategies and share best practices with each other. Now, please bear in mind that this is an overview of a very robust topic. We do offer a collection of technical and business courses that can be tailored towards your specific requirements. If you are interested in a further discussion, you can make an appointment with our learning consultants through our website at netcomlearning.com. Today's session is also being recorded, so you will get free access to the recording in the next 24 hours via email. And now I'd like to introduce Mary Feeney, Director of Corporate Learning here at Netcom Learning, to discuss some values and important items. Mary, go ahead.
Thanks, Tracy. Netcom Learning helps customers build innovative learning organization by achieving a smarter workforce, adapting to change, and driving growth. We do this with a broad catalog of offerings, developing customized learning plans, and our global delivery capabilities. Since 1998, we have been empowering organizations with our managed learning services to help them reach optimal performance results and address challenges. We have 9 practice areas in which we specialize. They encompass people, process, and technology training. Today's presentation is from the networking practice area. Netcom Learning offers a comprehensive training portfolio for Network Plus training courses. Here is our upcoming class on our public schedule. We have the Network Plus certification, which will prepare you for exam N10-006 on the 10th of March. We have the A+ certification that's scheduled on March 12, and we have the Security Plus certification preparing you for exam SY0-401, which is scheduled on March 26. We can also deliver private training to your teams, of which the learning plan can be customized to the specific audience. These offerings can be found as well with a simple search on our website at netcomlearning.com. With that, I'll turn it back to Tracy.
Well, thank you so much, Mary. That was most informative. So all of you out there, why would you want to attend this webinar? Well, CompTIA Network Plus certification is considered a prerequisite for entry-level networking careers by many of the employers out there. This certification provides all the necessary skills that are needed to become a Network Plus certified individual in the area of IT networks. A CompTIA Network Plus individual can do tasks like installation, configuration, and calibration of common networking systems. And this webinar will help you to get a deep dive into how one can build a solid IT foundation with the new CompTIA Network Plus certification. Now, I'd like to give you a quick overview of the logistics before we get started. To begin with, you do have the option to adjust the window size to your liking. Simply hit the Escape key and find the Zoom button at the top left corner of your GoToWebinar viewer. Everyone has been muted except for our presenters. Please feel free to submit any questions you do have for the presenters here in the questions pane, and we will address them at the end of the session. A PDF copy of today's slides are also in the handout section of your GoToWebinar viewer. And now, in just a few moments, I'm going to pass this off to Tanzeen, who will be presenting today's topic. Okay, go ahead. You are live, Tanzeen. Okay, we've got your screen. Just do the audio.
All right, thank you. I didn't unmute myself. So again, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining today's webinar on Network Plus. We have this new update coming up on March 27th. So today's agenda, I'll go over the certification description, do a little bit of comparison with the 006, and then do a comparative analysis with other vendor certifications, and then really go back down to focusing on why Network Plus is important, either in your career or in your IT department, depending on who you are. So if you could type in chat, just so I can understand who you are, and tweak the presentation if needed. Do you know who CompTIA is? So yes and no. And then also, do you or your staff have any of the CompTIA certifications? And if so, which ones? If you could go ahead and type that in chat, that will be helpful. All right, I'll just give it another second. I don't see anyone typing in yet. All right, let's move on, and if you can go ahead and type in chat any of these answers to these questions, that would be great. All right, so as Tracy mentioned, I'm Tasneem Kasem. I'm the Director of Product Management, and I do manage CompTIA Network Plus. And CompTIA is a global non-for-profit IT trade association. So we are most well known for our certifications like A+ Network Plus Security, but our mission is really to advance the IT industry as a whole. So we provide networking communities for IT pros as well as for organizations who need to advance in IT. We offer tons of research that actually helps organizations decide where they want to go. We have an advocacy and philanthropy arm as well. So we're constantly working with state, federal, international to help with the policies that build skilled tech workforce and advance the digital economy. So, so as a whole, CompTIA really works on more than just the certification, but the certifications are really focused on advancing careers for IT pros, as well as helping organizations with their business continuity. So we did have a research done a couple of few years ago, and it's called the Functional IT Framework, and you can actually download that using the link that I've included in the presentation. What we did was we interviewed about tons of CIOs, and we trying to figure out what are their pillars in their IT department, what are they focused on, and we came back with, there are really 4 areas in an IT department, which you all know because that's where you're from. So there's the infrastructure, development, security, and data. And there can be different kinds of overlap within the organizations. So CompTIA really focuses right now, all our job role certifications are focused on the infrastructure and the security area of an organization. And we see more and more organizations are separating out a security department because of everything that's going on right now. So with that, CompTIA has a certification pathway. CompTIA was always known for its foundational skill certification, but we're actually expanding more and more to get into those higher level, mid-career to advanced career certifications, but it's always vendor neutral, and that's kind of what we have our pride on. So if you look at this pathway, Network Plus sits right before everything else. So you've got the IT fundamentals, which if you're very new to IT and you have no experience, you'll start there, and then you go into A+, which focuses on devices, Network Plus, which focuses on connectivity of the devices. And that's going to help you form that base, like algebra before you go into calculus, to move into security, cloud, CASP, and so on. So this is kind of where CompTIA fits right now. We are coming up with another certification called Pen Test Plus, which you'll probably hear about soon, which falls in the cybersecurity pathway. So let's dive into Network Plus and what is it? And again, it'd be helpful to know if you actually have a Network Plus certification from any of the past exams. All right. So Network Plus certification is internationally recognized And we always bring in SMEs from international locations as well to develop these exams. And it validates the technical knowledge required of foundation level IT practitioners. The exam will certify that the successful candidate has the knowledge and skills required to troubleshoot, configure, and manage network devices, to understand and maintain network documentations, and implement network security standards and protocols. Of course, I haven't read all of them, but if you look at the exam objectives, that'll give you more detailed information about Network Plus. And then finally, the new Network Plus actually covers the basic understanding of enterprise technologies, including cloud and virtualization technologies. So we update our certifications every 3 years, and hence we can add in all the new technologies that are being used. So what does the exam look like? The exam actually will be available in March, and it's got 90 questions, 90 minutes. It will be available in English right away, and we'll add these other languages in the future. What I want to highlight is if you're studying for 006 exam, you do want to take that before August 31st, because that's when it's going to retire. And after August 31st, only the 007 will be available. And before that, we'll have both the exams available for you to take. And then the translations retire January 31st. I'm sure you guys also know the Network Plus is actually a renewable certification that you need to renew every 3 years unless you have the Good for Life. And we actually have 2 new products, or we've had these for a year or 2, that you could renew your certification very easily. One is the recertification exam that'll launch May 31st. And the other one is our Cert Master CE Learn product that actually you can take the course and complete the assessments and get your CE credit for Network Plus. And that will be launching May 31st as well. So if you have more questions, you can go to our Network Plus website and you'll be able to get the details. So the new exam domain, I've got the networking concept, infrastructure, operation security, and it's got a really nice flow of what you learn first and move on to the troubleshooting and tools. So I'll go into these in a little more detail. So the networking concept, which is the first one, here it focuses on network layout and design, how are devices, applications, and services connected based on the appropriate OSI layer. So as I mentioned, A+ focuses on the devices, whereas Network Plus focuses on the connectivity of the devices. The domain also focuses on the concepts on routing and switching and being able to configure appropriate IP addressing. So the ability to compare and contrast characteristics of network topologies are included, implementing wireless technologies, and also configuring the different configurations is covered in the domains. And then lastly, the domain summarizes cloud concepts and their purpose. So, setting up that solid network and ensuring access reliability is what an individual would learn from Network Plus. So they'll be actually able to set up and have a seamless integration of the technology and the resources, which kind of highlights in this domain. Moving on to infrastructure, this is the second domain, and it's about installing and configuring network devices on a network, understanding the purposes of virtualization and network storage technologies and advanced network devices. So this will again help give employees this seamless access to resources while working within the network or remote. Network operations is all about configuring a network and using resources to monitor and track performance, ensure updates are applied to keep the network running. The overall function is to maintain optimal network operations across a variety of platform mediums and communication channels. So whether a large or small organization, there needs to be policies and best practices in place. So when a new employee joins, how soon can you give them access and set up the policies so they don't have authorization to go into resources that they shouldn't be accessing. Creating effective work groups, ability to support end users related to connectivity resources that may not be available. And then finally, troubleshooting to a certain level here as well. So the only other thing I wanted to highlight about the previous one, which I didn't go over, is you see more and more breaches are happening nowadays. And if you look into why they're happening, obviously there are a lot of security breaches, but many of them are because they didn't update their patches, or the administrator did not follow the policies and the best practices. An employee left the organization, but it took them forever to take out the access for that, the authorization for that person. So a lot of this is learned in networking, in Network Plus, which covers at a very high level in Security Plus. So it is very, very important that you get that solid foundation with Network Plus. And then in terms of network security, this is the fourth domain. It consists of preventing and monitoring unauthorized access, misuse and modification, denial of a computer network and network accessible resources. Network security also covers implementation of device hardening to reduce vulnerability. Realistically, network security begins with a thorough understanding of your network. If you don't understand your network, how are you going to secure it is what we always hear, right? This is where our Security Plus really starts. The other domains we talked about, Security Plus covers at a very high level, but this is where it starts and it goes deeper into all these areas and more. So last domain is all about demonstrating that the candidate or you can take what you learned and apply it in terms of solving problems. This requires deeper knowledge than simply being able to complete a series of tasks. Employers want IT pros who can apply what they know to novel problems. So again, because we include performance-based questions within our certifications, which means there's either scenario-based questions or simulation that really validate their skills, not just their knowledge. Employees not being able to, for example, employees not being able to access their email, unable to print, or can't access resources, your network admin or your help desk should really be able to figure out why that's happening and be able to give them a quick solution. And most of all, you don't want some of those to happen in the first place. So again, if you can type really quick in the chat, who should be taking Network Plus? So I'll talk about that briefly. So again, we'll go back to the comparison between 006 and 007. Many of you might be just new, so you don't really need that information, but I'll cover it very high level. So in terms of who should take Network Plus, anyone who has the knowledge of A+ certification from before, as well as have a 9 to 12 months work experience in IT networking. And what our partners like Netcom does is if you have some knowledge and the education, they'll give you that experience, the lab work, the simulation to be able to get to that experience level really quickly. And the difference between 006 and 007, the major difference is we've really focused on the junior network administrator for the 007 role instead of a network administrator. So depending on how large an organization you work with, if it's a smaller organization, you probably have a lot more experience and you need to do a lot more tasks than a network admin in a large organization. So the exam really focuses on a junior network admin, probably more fitting towards a larger organization that needs to, understand all the domains that we talked about. And then in terms of comparison, if you see they're very, very similar, security is still in that, it's actually gone up to 20%. Operations, again, very similar. So not a lot of change in that sense, but we've kind of toned it down a little bit to focus on the junior network admin versus a network admin. So we do talk a lot about cognitive levels in terms of, how many objectives there are, old versus new, and then you look at there are not as many analyze or apply levels. That's where the scenario-based questions come in. We've also taken out unified communication technologies. because now it's more and more become a network service. Basic forensic concepts are no longer really are not needed in that level of a job career. Safety practices. But what we have done is the new exam is really highlighted more on Internet of Things. That's been added. Covers security implications of using specific network devices and protocols. And then, of course, network virtuality, disaster recovery, and device hardening. So the focus is still strong and solid. We've just taken a few items out. So comparing it to instructor, to other certifications. So this is how I see Network Plus. I know you know about our IT fundamentals, which is a very basic, it's not job role focused at all. Neither is MTA from Microsoft. These are both really designed for students or individuals who might be changing career and has no IT background and wants to really understand where they want to go. And then you go into our A+ certification, which is vendor neutral, focuses on what devices you need. It does cover high-level networking, but it talks about the operation systems as well. Then you go into Network Plus, and then you go into the other certifications. So we'll talk a little more about CCENT and CCNA, but Microsoft, VMware, Juniper, so they all have their vendor-specific certifications, but Network Plus really gives that foundational broad overview, which helps individuals to go into other certifications in the future. So if you look at CCENT and Network Plus, I've had many students or partners say, hey, students could just go into CCENT, why need Network Plus? If you compare the two, only 20% of network fundamentals is covered in CCENT. So what Cisco wants you to do is really understand Cisco devices and how to operate them. You're not necessarily getting that broader overview of network infrastructure and administration. A candidate with Network Plus certification is better positioned to fully understand an employee's network versus just focusing on Cisco devices. And then if you compare it to CCNA, routing and switching, again, only 15% of network fundamentals are covered in CCNA. So Cisco is assuming you know a lot of that knowledge, but you'll get that knowledge from Network Plus. So Network Plus, again, provides a holistic view of network infrastructure, operations, wireless technologies, and protocols, whereas Cisco really focuses straight into Cisco devices and how you operate those. Wanted to highlight my MTA really quick. There's also a confusion in the market, but MTA, if you look at, our Network Plus is a job role focused, so someone with a 9 to 12 months experience, where MTA is really intended for aspiring technologists, so not a job role focused, and it's very fundamental. And then also if you look at Renewal requirement, there isn't any, but you need multiple certifications of MTA just to cover the topics that we do, and it doesn't go into that high level simulation performance. It's a very explain and in that level where you just need to understand and explain what each of these concepts are. So in fact, MTA could actually be a precursor to Network Plus, if anything. All right, so let's move on to why Network Plus. So I mentioned a little bit about the performance certification. CompTIA performance certifications validate this. Like I mentioned, our simulations, our scenario-based questions really help a test taker demonstrate multi-step knowledge to complete a task. So within one question, you might actually have multiple steps that you do to get that question right. If you want to look at a video, I've put a link in there that kind of gives you a high level of what that performance-based question might look like. And then CompTIA has a higher ratio of these types of questions in exams than a lot of the other certification bodies. And that's where we take our pride in our certifications. We've also introduced stackable certifications. And again, the link is included. So that's another reason. So if you have, say, a Cloud Plus and you go back and take Network Plus, now you can get a stackable cert. again, most of the time Network Plus will be before some of those certs. So you actually want to take Network Plus first and then add those to it to get your stackable certs. The stackable certifications demonstrate that an individual earn multiple CompTIA certifications and have the knowledge and experience needed to grow your IT career. And as CompTIA is still staying vendor neutral and we're moving into the higher level cert, this really helps an organization see that their employees have the broader knowledge they need to do better in their jobs as they focus on vendor-specific certs as well. So here are some of the stackable certifications that include Network Plus, and you can find more information on it on our website. This is another reason why Network Plus. And Cisco actually, if you go to their website, this link, they actually recommend that A+ and Network Plus be taken before CCNA and CCNA, and then you go up higher with the other certifications. And that kind of showed when I did the comparison that that's kind of the track you want to take because you want to get that solid network foundation knowledge and skills. So the other thing we're working with is Microsoft. They actually have a veterans program where they include there have four tracks. It's called the MSSA program. This SCA, CSA, CAD, and DBI. And what they had before was actually include MTA as a prerequisite, and they noticed really fast it was really hard for the veterans to go through their program without that solid base. So what we've done recently is actually added Network Plus and Security Plus as prerequisite to 2 of those programs. And it's in its very early stages, and we're hoping that'll actually help these individuals go through the program. And once they've completed the program, they actually can, they're guaranteed to receive a job interview at Microsoft or one of their 220 hiring partners. So we see a lot of opportunity there for individuals who are certified in Network Plus and security. In terms of job market, so year to date, if you see the number of jobs looks like it's going down, but as we all know, the total number of IT jobs have reduced recently, but it's still growing though. So if you see the Network Plus demand is growing, it's went up from 0.9 to 1%. In the last few years. And then here are some of the employers who actually require Network Plus certified individuals to work within their organizations. And then as a summary, so why Network Plus? The CompTIA Network Plus certification, like I mentioned, is internationally recognized. So it's a portable career. So once you get into the IT career, you can actually move around to different locations. And it covers the technical knowledge required of foundation level IT network practitioner. It gives a depth and breadth of knowledge in networking. I've heard one of the most recently, I had an individual call me, and they're a journalism major, is a technical writer within an IT department and was required to take the Security Plus cert. Obviously, they didn't pass that first time around, but that's just not the way to go. And first of all, she's not technical enough to even shouldn't be taking Security Plus. And secondly, if she followed the A+ Network Plus Security Plus route, I think that would give her a better knowledge of why she's actually doing Security Plus. So unlike other vendor-specific network certifications, Network Plus prepares you to support the network regardless of the platform. So yes, at some point you will need to go into the vendor certification depending on your organization, but this really gives you a better idea of what to expect. On our certification, you might see maybe a Cisco type of environment in a simulation, but you really don't need to know Cisco devices to be able to answer that. Network Plus kind of does that in that more of a vendor neutral format where you should be able to answer some of those questions. And then finally, networking technology has become more and more critical than ever for IT professionals focusing on cybersecurity pathways. So do not skip Network Plus or that knowledge and skills that you need for Network Plus, because that'll give you that solid base And so now when you're securing a network, you'll know why you're securing it and what's the best way to do it, and be able to work with your network admin to make sure their roles are complete. And then lastly, I mean, this is, I think, the most important, why Network Plus. It really builds that person can help build a seamless work environment. So how many of us take for granted our emails are up every day, or our Word document that I saved on an X drive, I'll be able to access. And the minute you can't, you just stop working. So, you know, being able to give employees uninterrupted access to email, organizational resources, and services is huge. You know, you don't even, usually that's a big ROI, because a lot of times you're not measuring the downtime. Once you have a downtime, that's when you start measuring how much loss you have. But actually having it up and running gives that, you know, you get a ROI right away. Right authorization levels, if you're giving people the wrong levels of access, they could probably breach or kind of access information that they shouldn't. Fast access and setup for new employees. Discontinued access for former employees, which is again another huge reason for breaches. Efficient resolution of issues. So when we talked about that troubleshooting domain, that's where your network admin or your help desk, once they learn and have the knowledge, are able to resolve these issues very quickly instead of taking days, for example. And then securing all the organizational information and resources is obviously a big part of why you should have employees that are Network Plus certified, or why you should yourself get Network Plus certified. So this is kind of my last slide, and wanted to highlight some of the resources that we have available for you. So you can go into the Network Plus webpage that talks about Network Plus. You can download the objectives from there, and also you can go into the CE continuing education information. That's where you exam voucher purchases and registration, and I think Netcom probably help you quite a bit with that. And then you can follow us on Twitter, YouTube. We have several videos on YouTube, and then Facebook and LinkedIn. So with that, I'll hand it back over to Tracy. And again, thank you very much for attending our session.
Thank you so much, Tasneem. That was very informative, and we'll get back to you with some questions coming up. But first, I want to let our attendees know that we are celebrating our 20th anniversary, and we're here to serve you with best classes in IT and business certification training. We will bring you an unbeatable 20th year celebration offer this month to make your learning fantastic. We are offering up to 50% off on some of our popular courses and 25% off on Azure training and certification. Netcom Learning does offer a comprehensive portfolio for Network Plus training courses, and you can save 25% on the below trainings, which you can see up there on your screen: CompTIA Network Plus, CompTIA Certification, and CompTIA Security Certification. And team training can be customized and accelerated to meet your organization's specific needs. You can contact us today to be connected to one of our learning consultants to help advise you on your specific needs. Simply email us at webinar@netcomlearning.com or search our catalog at netcomlearning.com. And we all know that technical skills are necessary to empower our career, but you need to improve or upgrade your leadership skills as well in order to accelerate your career. Along with your technical abilities, develop the skills you need to manage yourself, others, and business better. Welcome to Starter Learning, a collaborative knowledge platform bringing the world's best business and leadership insights from Fortune 1000 leaders, best-selling authors, and Ivy League professors. Further, if you are interested in learning from the top American leaders, please log on to the e-learning platform at www.starterlearning.com, and you can avail the special promotion meant for first-time users. Use your coupon code STARTER10 and begin your learnership journey now. And right now, we are going to launch a quick poll to find out how many people might be interested in taking some additional training. So please take a few minutes before you all log off to fill that out so we can serve you better in the future. Also, we do have a lot more informative webinars coming up, so please go to netcomlearning.com/webinars in order to register. And don't forget to like and follow our social media pages to get the latest technology updates. You can refer to the GoToWebinar chat window for all of our links. And let's see, before we wrap up today, any other final thoughts that you wanted to let our attendees know about, Tasneem?
I would love to see if they have any questions on any specific questions on Network Plus. But yeah, like I mentioned, it's very important to have the networking foundation skills. We've seen more and more in the last few years, people jumping over to security. But again, without that solid base networking knowledge, you really can't secure a network if you don't know what it looks like. So again, recommend highly that if you even have gone past Network Plus, to go back and review that, and you will learn quite a bit more than if you've just taken your Security Plus certification or training. And again, feel free to contact me if you have any other specific questions, or email us.
Okay, I do have just a few comments that came in earlier, if you just want to touch on this when you're asking about what they are working on. Someone says the help desk analysts and aspiring network managers. Another person says they know little about CompTIA, and the staff has A+ and Security Plus certs. If you want to touch on those at all.
Right, yeah, again, thank you for responding. And that's a perfect example of A+ and Security Plus. You see the gap in Network Plus. We do have some assessment tools where you can actually assess your employees to see where they are and what's missing, what's the gap, and that might be a good gap to look at and see if there are some gaps within your team, and they might need that Network Plus certification as well. And then yes, Carrie, you're perfect. Help desk analyst, aspiring network managers, anyone who's going into that networking environment and wants to work in that field are perfect candidates for the course as well as the certification. So yeah, again, thank you for responding. Where do we find the assessment tool? The assessment tool, we don't have it openly, but if you email me, we can I can work with one of our representatives to give you access to that for your team. So email me at tksom@comptia.org, and we can arrange that for you.
Great. Okay. Well, thank you, Tasneem and Mary Feeney, and thank you to all of you attendees for joining us today. Oh, wait, we do have time. Here comes another question. Do you want to jump on that?
Yeah, does Network Plus certification help with a way of teaching security policies or even a way to create policy? It does go to that into a high level. I would recommend to go through the objectives, but I think Security Plus focuses on a lot more, but Network Plus will give you that startup to do some of that for sure. If you go back and look at the objectives for the security domain of Network Plus, I would say yes.
Great. Again, thank you so much, and we hope that you all found today's webinar informative, and we look forward to seeing you back here with us soon. And do feel free to tell your friends and colleagues about our webinars and other courses. Have a great day, everyone.
Thank you.